This video explains the most important functions of Oxylog VE300. It also explains how to prepare and to start operation of the device, and moreover how to use and clean it. This video is divided into different sections, which allow you to easily navigate. In this video, you will see how to prepare Oxylog VE300 for its use on the patient. Before Oxylog VE300 is connected to a patient, the device should be reprocessed in accordance with the hygiene regulations at the operating location, for example hospital or ambulance station, and the instructions for use, including the reprocessing intervals and reprocessing procedures. The carrying system can be used to transport an oxygen cylinder together with the device. This enables the device to be operated directly at the patient's location, independent of a central gas supply. To change the oxygen cylinder, loosen the screw cap on the device. Open the closure of the device by lifting both handles to the top and release them. Now lift the upper part of the closures upwards and pull them off. Open the device. Take out the oxygen cylinder and remove the pressure reducer. Connect the pressure reducer to the new oxygen cylinder, or use an oxygen cylinder with an integrated pressure reducer. Place the cylinder in the well of the base plate and position the oxygen cylinder so that the pressure reducer is on the side of the bar and the cylinder body is resting on all four rubber feet. Connect the oxygen compressed gas hose to the ventilator. Rotate the cylinder so that the pressure reducer and the hose do not protrude beyond the bar. Attach and fasten both closures until they engage audibly. Rotate the cylinder valve slowly and open it fully. To attach the accessory bag, push the outside openings of the buttons onto the pins on the side of the device. To remove the bag, pull on the buttons fastened inside the accessories bag. Internal power is provided by means of a removable, rechargeable battery. Remove the battery compartment cover. Insert the battery vertically in the battery compartment with the contacts facing downward until the locking lever on the carrying handle side engages. Fit the battery compartment cover and press it until it engages audibly. To remove the battery, press the locking lever on the carrying handle side and lift out the battery vertically using the strap. The DC-DC converter can be used to connect the device to onboard power supply, such as in ambulances. It can be used with 12, 24 or 28 voltages. Plug the small connector into the device's DC socket and the large connector of the DC-DC converter into the onboard power supply. Using a power supply unit, connect the DC connector to the device's DC socket and insert the power plug into the power socket. Check if the device is connected correctly to the external power source. The LED next to the battery status indicator lights up green when the battery is charged. When it is charging, the LED flashes green. The LED lights up yellow if the battery is faulty or no battery is inserted. Connect the oxygen compressed gas hose to the standard port on the device. Connect the gas probe to the oxygen terminal unit until it locks in place and the oxygen supply is assured. To maintain continuous oxygen supply when switching from the built-in oxygen cylinder supply to central gas supply, the device can additionally be connected to a central gas supply system via the quick coupling port while the cylinder supply is active. Connect the gas probe of the oxygen compressed gas hose to the oxygen terminal unit. Connect the oxygen compressed gas hose to the device's quick coupling port until it locks in place and the oxygen supply is assured. Slowly close the valve of the built-in oxygen cylinder. Place the diaphragm in the breathing valve housing. Make sure that it is fitted correctly. Mount the cover and turn it about 60 degrees clockwise until it engages. Push the flow sensor onto the breathing valve. To do so, align the flow sensor on the breathing valve using the grooves in the flow sensor. Push the elbow onto the flow sensor. Connect the breathing hose to the breathing valve and connect the flow measuring lines to the ports of the flow sensor. When connecting the flow measuring lines, pay attention to the differing diameters of the hoses and connectors and connect them to the correct connector. Connect the flow measuring lines to the Oxylog VE300. Correct alignment is indicated by a groove on the connector, which must point away from the breathing hose. Connect the breathing hose to the device's gas outlet. A bacterial filter, HME or catheter mount is connected directly to the patient port of the breathing circuit. When using an HME, the measured flow may deviate from the actual expiratory flow because temperature and humidity of the breathing gas are reduced. The flow and volume measurements can be adjusted for use with an HME. To set the HME correction, touch the HME button, set the desired value, on or off, and confirm the setting with the rotary knob. Disconnect the elbow from the flow sensor or pressure sensor. Connect the CO2 cuvette to the flow sensor or pressure sensor so that the windows point to the side. Attach the elbow to the CO2 cuvette. Push the CO2 sensor onto the CO2 cuvette with the cable toward the device. Connect the CO2 sensor to the port on the device. Alternatively, connect the CO2 cuvette directly to the patient port of the elbow without disconnecting the elbow from the flow sensor. The LED next to the battery symbol lights up when an external power source is connected. A two-colored indicator lights up to show the current state of battery charge. Flashing green indicates that the battery is charging. Lit green indicates that the battery is fully charged. If the LED lights up yellow, this indicates that no battery is inserted or the battery cannot be charged. When the device is switched on, the remaining battery charge is displayed in the header bar below the oxygen mode as a symbol in increments of 25%. In addition, the remaining duration of operation in hours and minutes is displayed. The numeric display appears on startup after a short delay. The device has two different system tests. The system test when using a disposable breathing circuit and the system test with breathing circuit when using a reusable breathing circuit. Both system tests can only be performed in standby mode. A system test must be performed once a day, for example at the start of a shift, but at least every 6 months. The system test takes about 1 minute. To switch the ventilator on, briefly press the Start Standby key. The ventilator performs an automatic self-test, then the standby screen is displayed. To move to screen 2 of the dialog, touch the button 1 in the top right-hand corner of the screen. Touch the button Test and Calibration. Using a disposable breathing circuit, touch the button System Test. Using a reusable breathing circuit, touch the button System Test with Breathing Circuit, which is shown here as an example. The system test with the breathing hose is now started. On screen 1 out of 4, confirm the advisory messages with the Next button. On screen 2 out of 4, confirm the advisory message with the Next button. The system test is then started. Its progress is indicated by a bar on screen 3 out of 4. When prompted, seal the patient port. Seal the patient port. When prompted, open the patient port. Open the patient port. The test result is displayed on screen 4 out of 4. To exit, touch the Finish button. The CO2 zero calibration and the CO2 filter test can be performed in standby mode and during ventilation. After connecting the CO2 sensor or after a power supply failure, the sensor must warm up for approximately 3 minutes before it is ready for operation. The CO2 zero calibration is carried out weekly, the CO2 filter test is carried out monthly. Touch the button Test and Calibration. As an example, we will show you how to perform the CO2 zero calibration. To start the CO2 zero calibration, touch the button CO2 zero calibration. On screen 1 out of 3, confirm the advisory message with the next button. The CO2 zero calibration starts and the message Zero calibration of CO2 sensor in progress is displayed. When the CO2 zero calibration is completed, a message is displayed indicating the result of the calibration. To exit, touch the Finish button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Reconnect the CO2 sensor to the CO2 cuvette. To start the CO2 filter test, touch the button CO2 filter test. Confirm the messages, remove the cuvette from the CO2 sensor, and attach the CO2 sensor to the test filter with the next button. The CO2 filter test starts and the message Filter test of CO2 sensor in progress is displayed. A bar indicates that the CO2 filter test is in progress. When the CO2 filter test is completed, a message is displayed indicating the result. To exit, touch the Finish button in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Reconnect the CO2 sensor to the CO2 cuvette. To switch the device on, briefly press the Start Standby key. The device briefly displays the startup screen, indicating the device name and the installed software version. Every time it is switched on, the device performs an automatic self-test involving a test of the acoustic alarm signals, as well as an internal device test. The device then switches to standby mode. The desired ventilation mode is activated by the patient category and the ventilation category. For example, touch Adult and subsequently touch the ventilation category, in this example, ventilation. Then touch the Start Ventilation button. The settings in the ventilation category are preset but can be adapted. Standard is VC-CMV, optional is VC-SIMV. Here, the respiratory rate and the tidal volume can be adjusted. By pressing the More Settings button, further parameters and settings can be adjusted. The following parameters and settings can be adjusted. The inspiratory oxygen concentration FiO2, either 100% oxygen or oxygen air mix. The maximum airway pressure, Pmax, the positive end expiratory pressure, PEEP, the inspiratory time, TI, the trigger sensitivity, trigger, the pressure rise time, slope, and the pressure support, delta P-sub. When the trigger sensitivity is activated and set, the mandatory breaths are synchronized with the patient's inspiratory efforts. A low value corresponds to a high sensitivity. Touch the button Trigger. Turn the rotary knob to adjust to the required value, and confirm by pressing the rotary knob. The ventilation mode VC-AC is now displayed on the screen. The device assigns priorities to the alarms. An alarm always consists of an alarm message and an acoustic alarm signal. The alarm message is highlighted with the corresponding number of exclamation marks. A high priority alarm is highlighted by 3 prefixed exclamation marks. The alarm indicator flashes red. The acoustic alarm signal consists of 5 tones, repeated twice about every 6 seconds. A medium priority alarm is highlighted by 2 prefixed exclamation marks. The alarm indicator flashes yellow. The acoustic alarm consists of 3 tones, repeated about every 8 seconds. A low priority alarm is highlighted by 1 prefixed exclamation mark. The acoustic alarm signal consists of 2 tones, sounded only once. To To silence acoustic alarm signals, press the Alarm Silence key. The alarm indicator remains active and all current acoustic alarm signals are silenced for about 2 minutes. The LED in the yellow key field remains lit during this time. New alarms with a higher priority than that of the silenced alarms override the alarm tone suppression and thus are indicated by a one-time acoustic alarm signal. After the 2 minutes, all acoustic alarm signals are reactivated and the LED in the yellow key field goes out. To set the alarm limits for airway pressure, respiratory rate, minute volume, CO2 or alarm volume in operation mode, touch the Alarm Settings button. Depending on the selected options, the following settings can be made. For the respiratory rate, the upper alarm limit. For the minute volume, the upper alarm limit and lower alarm limit. For the end tidal CO2 concentration, if the CO2 sensor cable is connected, the upper and lower alarm limit. The current value is displayed between the alarm limits. The setting principle is select, adjustment with the rotary knob, confirm with the rotary knob. With the button Alarm Volume, the alarm volume can be set in a range from 25 to 100%. The button Auto Set enables the upper and lower alarm limits to be set automatically. To access the configuration dialog, touch the button System Setup. In the configuration dialog, the following information can be displayed and changed. The screen brightness can be set from 25 to 100%. To adjust the screen brightness, touch the Screen Brightness button, select the desired screen brightness and confirm with the rotary knob. The breathing circuit can be set for the use of disposable or reusable breathing circuits. The temperature and moisture of the HME have an effect on the flow measurement. The device can compensate for the presence of an HME. The following optional information is also available. The ventilation mode for the ventilation category Ventilation, displayed in standby mode as presetting, can be set here. The options are VC-CMV and VC-SIMV. The device can be set for the use of disposable or reusable CO2 cuvettes. The device can be connected with another suitable receiver via Bluetooth. The screenshot function can be used to take a screenshot of every screen. Screenshots are saved in the internal memory of the device. System tests, screenshots, and patient log data can be exported as a log file to a USB flash drive for analysis and documentation purposes. To export log files, touch the Export Data button. Connect a USB flash drive. The device automatically detects the USB flash drive and transfers the saved data to it. A successful transfer is confirmed with the message "Export successfully completed." Touch the Finish button to complete the export and remove the USB flash drive. To access the logbook, touch the button Logbook. The logbook displays all events, alarms, and the switching off of the device in chronological order. The most recent entry is at the top. Earlier events and alarms can be displayed using the arrow keys. The entries in the logbook cannot be deleted and are preserved even after the device is switched off and on or after a power supply failure. To access the system information, touch the button System Information. The system information is displayed in 2 columns in this screen. In the left-hand column, you find information and options enabled on the device, and date and time. And in the right-hand column, the values for the parameters listed in the left-hand column. The instructions for reprocessing meet the requirements of ISO 17664. Use disinfectants that are nationally approved and are suitable for the respective reprocessing procedure. Observe the hygiene regulations and reprocessing regulations of the healthcare facility. Observe national hygiene regulations and reprocessing regulations. Use validated procedures for reprocessing. Reprocess reusable products after every use. Observe the manufacturer's instructions for cleaning agents, disinfectants, and reprocessing devices. To disassemble the CO2 sensor and the CO2 cuvette, remove the CO2 sensor from the CO2 cuvette. Remove the elbow from the cuvette. Remove the CO2 cuvette from the flow or pressure sensor. Carefully and evenly disconnect the flow or the pressure measuring line from the flow sensor. To disassemble the reusable breathing circuit for adults, disconnect the flow sensor from the breathing valve. Always hold the sleeve, never the folds, when removing the reusable breathing hose from the device. To disassemble the breathing valve, turn the cap about 90 degrees counterclockwise to detach it and remove the silicon diaphragm. Refer to the reprocessing list in the instructions for use. It is applicable to non-infectious patients and contains approximate values only. The instructions of the hospital's infection control officer shall prevail and must be observed by the user. Always check whether the device is fully functional. All parts with visible signs of wear, such as cracks, deformation, discoloration or peeling and the like, must be replaced. We hope we've given you an interesting insight into the ingenious world of the Oxylog VE300. You will find more information in our instructions for use and on our website. Or simply contact us directly. You will see it is worth it.